running a business, I think it's one of the hardest things that a person can willingly choose to do. Every decision that you make ultimately is a little bit of a leap of faith and trust in your gut. If you don't understand the fundamentals of your business, it's a recipe for disaster. It makes me get up in the morning because it's hard, and that is everything. It's the fundamental part of a good business relationship. This is the game. It is this hard.
Welcome everyone to a new series that we're doing here at Scale It Co called In Good Company. It's going to be a series where we sit down with clients that we're working with currently, clients we've worked with previously, and just talk all things business, mainly e-commerce. So for any of you e-commerce fans out there, hopefully this is valuable. And today we're with a previous client, but very, very good friend, Mike.
Mike, mate.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
He's the founder of this amazing product here called CHUUG, but also you've been in business now for 19 years, haven't you? So quite a long time, very seasoned, and actually all of his experiences over the last sort of 19 years is really what's led him to launching CHUUG. So we're going to go through a lot of his sort of history and touch on how CHUUG was formed, and hopefully if there's any of you that are watching this that are e-com owners, you can gain value from it, because Mike's been through a lot, learned a lot, and I learn a lot from being around Mike every time I'm around him. So I think jumping into things then, shall we let you give a bit of an intro as to what CHUUG is? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've got some here, by the way. If you need to, if you want to go and check them out and buy some, go to www.chuug.com. But do you want to give people a bit of an insight as to what CHUUG is and what you're trying to do there, and how it was kind of, well, maybe what CHUUG is first.
Yeah, CHUUG is a brand that I've been trying to build now for the last 2 years, maybe 2.5 years.
It was so much longer.
I know. Yeah.
Has it only been 2.5 years?
Yeah, it's been about 2.5. It was probably close to 3 years ago that I actually kind of developed the product. But the product came out of a super difficult time in my life where I was. I've been entrepreneur, business owner for quite a number of years. I had multiple businesses, and this business very much kind of came out of the ashes of my last one. The period of time that led to the creation of this business was a super, super difficult time for me, and I think that probably be other people listening to this who can relate to the struggles that business can bring on. It's a really arduous, difficult project to run a business, particularly for multiple years. You know, you're inevitably going to come up against knocks and scrapes and relationship problems potentially, and financial problems. And I had just about had my fair share of struggle, of kind of almost 2 decades of trying to make successful businesses work, multiple businesses, multiple failures, a couple of successes, but ultimately it takes its toll. Yeah. And I think this particular time was, COVID was the thing that kind of broke the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. But even leading up to that, I'd had my fiance, who I'd started the business with initially, had actually ended our relationship. That kind of threw everything into turmoil. So, you know, we were building something, or I thought we were building something, and you think about the future and what that's going to look like, and then all of a sudden everything changes. Yeah. I had a lot of kind of family relationship troubles as well. I had my own health concerns. And what happened was I just had this kind of culmination of overwhelm, essentially, just massive, massive overwhelm, and not being able to be the business leader that I used to be. I was so kind of passionate about business and about kind of being a good leader and holding myself to a high standard, and all of a sudden I didn't have the physical or the mental capacity to do what I did anymore. And it was this huge feeling of pressure and a huge feeling of being trapped in what I built almost. So I had no choice but to kind of pull back from this business that I created. We were in e-commerce, but we were doing personalized gifting, and we were doing kind of laser engraved stuff and t-shirt printing and things like that. I was very, very lost for a good period of time where I didn't know what I was doing anymore. I'd lost creativity in the business.
Yeah.
I found myself doing a lot of jobs I didn't have any passion for anymore, and I'd handed over a lot of the creative jobs to other people in the business, and I essentially just managed myself out of a job, and I was very, very lost. And then came all the stress and relationship breakdown and everything associated with that, and then COVID. And then COVID was great on one hand because all the sales came piling in, but then it came with so much more stress, and there was a lot of kind of internal conflict in the business with people who had to come to work to fulfill the orders, but other people working from home who didn't necessarily need to be at the workplace. So there was a lot of divide. It became so difficult.
Yeah.
So when I realized, you know what, I just need some creativity. So I don't even know where this came from, but I just thought, I'm going to go and learn pottery. I'm going to go and learn how to throw clay on a wheel. It was like this little whisper of this kind of
You're so unique.
I don't even know where it came from.
Yeah, I'd love to know where that come from.
Just like a little whisper of oh, that's quite cool. I like that when I see people do that.
Yeah.
Seems like a skill, or there's something, it takes so much focused attention to do it. I think I was craving that. I was craving attention. I needed to do something. So anyway, I went and did a course on it. I remember we had everyone had their COVID masks on. It's that's where it was, and everyone was spaced out, and there was tape on the floor, and you could only walk in one direction around the workshop and all that crap. So I went and did I think it was a 2-week taster course, something like that, and just learned to throw. And everyone who tries pottery for the first time is awful. You can't be good at it. It's a
you got a photo of what you first created by any chance?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. Was it good though, or was it?
No.
Oh shit.
But no one's is, because it's impossible.
I'd love to see it.
It's one of those things where you have to do it 10,000 times before it's any good. But there was something about it that I was just oh, this is cool. So I carried on learning that. I became a member of the pottery workshop place in Cardiff, and you just kind of join a community. And this is a super creative community who they might have a day job, but then in the evenings they go and then they're on the wheel next to you making pots and vases and things like this.
Yeah.
So I just kind of put that into my routine. And when I've decided, oh, I like this, I'm terrible for I'm that guy who, decides to be the golfer and has all the gear and no idea. The guys that I turn up with all the gear and the brand new golf clubs that cost $1,000, and
that's me as well.
I'm a nightmare. So within 6 months of being at this pottery place, I had bought my own kiln. I cleaned out one of my bedrooms at home, and then I created a pottery studio at home.
Love it.
And I didn't really know what I was going to do at that point. I just knew that I loved doing this. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
And there's just a world of opportunity of where I could potentially take this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do artistic sculptural work. I don't know. Maybe I will, make some nice handmade stuff, and I'll make it in my own unique style, and then I'll be able to. Ultimately, what I've realised in myself is that I will dive into something, and I'm passionate about this thing that I really like, and then the business part of my head comes online, and it's this could be a product. This could be. And then it starts dreaming about the scale of this thing, and oh my God, it could do this, and then blah, blah, blah. And because I'd come from the gifting world, my previous business, I knew that there was this massive gap there in gifts for men. Mm-hmm. It's the wallets and whiskey glass and socks and chocolate. There's such a huge gap there.
Yeah.
So when I started making beer tankards on the wheel.
Yeah.
And I loved them for myself personally. And I was making them for other people, but then I didn't want to give them away because I really loved them myself.
Yeah.
And then inevitably I started just doing that whole product creative thing and thinking, oh, how can I make this? How can I make it like? I want to make something that's unique.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can make a product that is too unique, where you don't want to make a product that's so unique that nobody knows how to use it, and you have to educate them on it, and you have to pay for all the messaging to even tell people why this thing is useful in their life. I don't think that's what a good product is. I think a good product is something that is probably already out there in the world and has mass appeal to it.
Yeah.
But you have done something different to it. You've put a spin on it in such a way that it makes it unique and interesting and exciting, but you don't really need to tell people why it's all those things. They already know because they're already using a different version of it in their lives, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where the things kind of coalesce for me, is those like, this moment of like, hang on a sec, I put a bit of rope on one of these things, and then I was like, I want to do this on like a big scale.
Yeah.
So then it opens up into, okay, well, how do I do ceramics on a big scale? That means I'm going to need a big, messy ceramic pottery studio. Okay, I didn't want that. I knew I didn't want that because that'd be a nightmare. And I'd already been in ceramic studios for a long time and I thought, okay, well, the cleanup job on its own is a nightmare.
Yeah,
and I'm not good with maintaining things. I'm good with creating things, and then I leave a wake of destruction behind me. So it's like
you're just done, just right.
Yeah,
gone.
I like the creative bit. I don't like the cleaning up bit. So that's where me and ceramics don't really go together. But the to scale it, then I thought, okay, well, what I'll do instead then is I'll get ceramic bodies where the wood is on this. I'll get ceramic. I'll get them made overseas, and then I'll have them shipped in, and then we'll build them, and we'll put the glazes on, and we'll still be able to turn that stock into lots of different products. But we'll do the finishing in the UK, but we'll order them from overseas, and that'll kind of remove a lot of the messiness of it. And also they'll have the operations to make them at a big scale, whereas for us, the scale that I had in mind, it would have been a massive operation to, turn clay into stone and,
It's slow as well, wouldn't it? I imagine.
Yeah, that's right. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I went and ordered. Went through the whole process of design, 3D printing, prototyping, going over to. I didn't go to China. I spoke to people in China. I spoke to factories. I got samples in. We went through the process of getting molds made, all this kind of stuff. And then I paid for, I think it was 1,500 units to come and land at my front door at our old house. And I waited for them to arrive by sea because I couldn't necessarily afford to have them over by airmail. So it was a long process. It takes months and months to go through this whole process. Yeah. They turned up on the doorstep and I opened the boxes. There was like 5 massive boxes. It was just full of crumbs. Every single one had smashed to smithereens.
No way.
Every single one. Yeah. So
no way.
I knew that was like the kind of moment where I was like, I can't do this in ceramic. I can't make them in ceramic because if they're going to smash, even though we've packed everything so well, and even then, not a single one arrived intact. And I knew that I wanted to have these products going out around the world. I wanted to ship these out internationally. Can you imagine the customer service inquiries of having to deal with breakages and then resending them out again? I thought, I can't do it. So then it kind of turned into, okay, well, what if we did them in wood? So then I started exploring wood manufacturers in the UK.
Yeah.
And I knew that we wanted to have control in-house. I wanted to do the building. I wanted us to kind of do as much of the process as possible, but I knew that we had to work with a specialist wood turner to kind of get the wood made and things like that.
Yeah.
And then, the rest is history. That's how the product came about. And then we've iterated and made it better and responded to customer feedback. And I've got a Discord community for the super fans of the product and the brand who are just amazing.
Love it.
And I'm in constant conversation with them about ideas, marketing ideas. And but ultimately, if it wasn't for the people who had bought at the start and trusted us and giving their feedback, that's the only reason the product is where it is now.
Yeah.
Is that relationship with the customers. And what a journey, man.
You are a really creative person as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a positive skill. I think you couldn't be
100%.
I don't think you could be a really successful business owner unless you did have creativity. I get a huge sense of fulfillment from the creativity of building businesses. Supposedly, that's where I find myself.
Creative and curious is that if like there was two things to, I don't know, try and break down your almost like personality, I think. I think you're really curious, and I actually really like that about you. Like, if someone tells you a bit of information, you won't just like walk away from that and just be like, okay, that's banked. You like prod in a good way. You ask questions about your questions and about the answers that people give, and I think that's a really, it's a trait, to be honest, that not a lot of people have. Like when we're doing the coaching with Scale It Co, which is rare now, but you can always tell when people are going to get it and going to go and implement stuff and when people aren't. And it's usually, you can see just by the questions that they're asking. And I think from just knowing you for a while now, I think they're two of your strongest traits. Is just you're creative and you're so incredibly curious about every single thing. And it's...
Yeah, I appreciate that, mate. Yeah. I think it's super important for business owners to, you don't want to hand over too much of the important parts of your business to external people, isn't it? And that's one of the reasons why I warmed to you guys and wanted to work with you, was because you were willing to do the work at the same time as teaching me at the same time, and that's exactly what I wanted. I think it's so important to be an effective business owner. You've got to be able to at least talk the language of the biggest elements of your business.
Yeah.
And I can't feel comfortable anymore. And it comes from making so many mistakes in the past that you can hand over too much responsibility to someone and you never learn about the aspects of it. So you don't even know if they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You just trust them, and when the numbers start going haywire and you have no idea what to do, the only option you have is to either continue putting your trust in them and keep going in that same direction with no idea where it's going to lead, or you have to cut and run and move to jump ship to, get on another track with somebody else. But if you understand it, that's what I got from you guys, is that for me, marketing was always a blind spot to me.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty creative. I can always, very much kind of a product guy, that I like finding like product market fit, which is basically saying I like to find out what people like and want, and I like fulfilling that need, and there's something incredibly satisfying in that.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of meaningless if you can't communicate that in the right way and connect with the audience. And that was always a blind spot for me, is that I always struggled with that.
Yeah.
So I built a lot of my businesses on other platforms like Amazon and Etsy and things like this, where they essentially handle the marketing and the selling.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's great in one respect, but then on the other side of it is that without them handling that huge important part of the business, so much of the power and the reins are handed over to those companies, and it's such an important part of the business. When I started working with you guys, it was very much like, okay, I'm going to stop handing over this responsibility to other people, because not only do you lose power in the whole customer journey and the ownership of your business, but it can be so expensive as well.
Yeah.
So to take the leap and to learn it and to sit with you guys and actually understand the fundamentals of it, like you say, I'm probably curious to the point where it's annoying, because I want to ask all the questions so that I understand it.
No, but I think that's like I say, it's a rare trait, and you don't see it much. And I think a lot of people's opinions on marketing, a lot of people don't like it. And if you haven't got that creative flair and you haven't got an interest in it, I think it's kind of makes sense for people to not like it. Like, we get a lot of, there's a few clients we're working with now, and they're diamonds, they're great, they're really good to work with, and they, like you say, they trust us. But what that does create sometimes is it becomes difficult sometimes to have, not tough conversations, but it's harder to kind of, for them to understand when we're saying, right, because marketing's not easy, right? There's always, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And, I think naturally every business wants to just show that it's always sunshine and rainbows, but actually marketing isn't. You know, we've had our fair share of tough times, you know, results dipping, things like this, which happens, but it's always been really easy to communicate with yourself when those times happen and put a solution in place. Whereas actually sometimes if they're not interested, they don't care, and it's not a bad thing, they're focusing on other areas, and ultimately they're employing us in a way. There's leverage there as well, isn't there? They want to buy their time back. But it can be extremely difficult to navigate those tough times and explain why things are happening. If they don't fully understand it. Sometimes I think business owners can feel like they're having the wool pulled over their eyes, and that's natural again. If you don't understand something, you know, like pixels, the bane of everyone's life, tracking and stuff like this. It just a little bit of code, which sounds so simple to like the naked eye, but actually, as you all know, like tracking is incredibly annoying. You've got all these platforms trying to swallow all the performance and say that it was, you know, Meta, the biggest one. We tried to use Hyros, didn't we, for a while, and that was almost like, I don't know, I found that really difficult to use. I found that it was almost like too much information, which might sound stupid, but I don't know how you feel about it, but I don't feel like we'd actually learn anything from using that software. It was almost like too much information and trying to control too many elements, but I don't know. Have you using anything like that now, or?
I think that at the stage of business that we were in when we first started working together, you're still in the process of getting the fundamentals in place. Like ultimately, the customer journey from impression to conversion is actually quite simple. There's like 5 or 6 distinct stages that you're kind of putting in place, and we were still kind of fixing the major pieces of that puzzle at the time. And I think sometimes all business owners can be forgiven for having that kind of shiny object syndrome thing, where you just think, you always have a sense that you're missing out on this this secret that the big players are using, which is unlocking their business. And, you know, whether it's like a platform like Hyros or, you know, something like that is expensive to have and you have to pay for this thing monthly. The long and short of it is, I think that it wasn't right for our business at that time, because it was more so for the business that already had the fundamentals in place and just wanted to optimize from there, and where small percentage increases have huge benefits. That makes sense. We just weren't there. We were spending, I can't remember how much Hyros was. And I'm not shitting on Hyros at all. I think I think it's a fantastic platform. And I think there's loads of other platforms like that. But
it was difficult to navigate, wasn't it, with what we were doing? We just didn't feel like we gained any traction from it. It felt like it was almost like, we've got all this information now, but where do we go? How do we optimize?
And we probably didn't have enough volume to really kind of to use the data effectively.
I think with where you were at, I think Hyros was $1,000 a month or something like that, or maybe a bit more, was it?
Yeah, and
it was up there, wasn't
$1,000 a month in a startup.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and you know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You throw a lot of money at things when you first start, because you're just desperate for success. It has to work, and it's a big commitment signing up to something like that. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I do think, like you say, it's probably better suited for more established brands. Like you say, there were so many moving parts when we got started together. I think one of the things that would be good to talk about would be, I mean, it's not just about us either, but in terms of CHUUG itself, was there like a tipping point where you thought, right, okay, now I've really got a grip on this and I can see a light at the end of the tunnel? Because I imagine, just like any startup, when you're getting going, you're just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks, right? Was there a tipping point, or do you still not feel like you've got there?
I think that I don't think you ever really get that feeling. I think that you have running any business, I think that you have to be a little bit crazy to do it in the first place. You have to be optimistic, but you still have to be realistic at the same time. But every decision that you make ultimately is a little bit of a leap of faith. Because if you're doing something that is unique and exciting, that has, a big opportunity win for it, you're doing something that somebody probably hasn't done before, or not many people have done before. And every stage from ideation to putting it into action and making it bigger and making it bigger, you're kind of looking for validation at every stage while you're growing. And like when you're asking me that question, I was thinking, like probably in the last 3 weeks, we've had like a moment where you think, okay, we've arrived at the next checkpoint,
What was that, out of curiosity? What's the trigger for that?
The recent one was where we are finally hitting a return on our ad spend, which was just not a pipe dream for me. It was when I started walking this path 2.5 to 3 years ago, I had a vision of, if I can do this, and this, and if I can improve, so if we can sell the product in the right way, and if we can price it right, and if the product is loved by customers and the product quality is there, you're putting those fundamentals in place along that customer journey.
Yeah.
If we can do this, and if we can do that, and if we can do that, and if we can do that, then X is going to come out of the other side of it. But you never really know. And you have to, a lot of it is a leap of faith and trust in your gut.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be doubts throughout the journey. I still have doubts now. I'm going to continue to have doubts into the future. But the recent win was kind of seeing we've made big leaps in a few of these areas. We've improved the product quality.
Yeah.
We fixed a lot of those problems. It's a fantastic feeling to feel like, okay, well, customers are bowled over with that, and we're getting less customer service inquiries, which means less returns. You're saving a lot of money in that respect.
Love it.
The way that you are selling the product, from the description of what you're doing to the product photography to the videography and everything from when that customer arrives on that landing page, you've done enough split testing to make some big improvements in that. Then down to the dispatch time and how quickly is the customer getting it in their hands. If you're selling internationally, so we currently sell in 3 countries predominantly. We sell UK, Australia, and USA. Each one of those countries has its own challenges and its own tariffs, and the cost of sending products to those countries is expensive. So there's a lot of moving parts that have to work in synchronicity for there to even be a profit that comes out the other side. And then you've got the question of, is there even enough profit for this to be sustainable?
Yeah.
Is
it worth the stress?
Is it worth the stress? And also, will that bring in enough money, enough cash flow to even grow the business as well? There's a lot of things that have to line up. And for us, we're definitely benefiting from the pre-Christmas kind of surge of orders at the moment. But beyond that, we had a fantastic October, which is normally a bit of a slump for us, because people are kind of taking a breath in and holding their money until Christmas.
Last year. I'm sure that happened last year, didn't it? I think. I'm sure I remember us talking about something where we had this period where everything kind of slowed down and we was on the edge of Christmas. I'm sure that was last year. I'm sure we had that with the ads and
we did,
yeah. Which is so you're saying that actually you didn't have that this year, and it's just been
October this year was our best month ever.
That's insane.
And the only reason that it was because we are able to afford the expensive cost of marketing to beat out the competition, to pay for your ads. That's the game, isn't it?
Being more aggressive, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to be able to have arranged things in such a way that there is enough of a piece of the pie to afford the marketing spend, and then it becomes a something that can grow exponentially. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of testing. Creative is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
We we did a video with you guys.
Yeah. How's that performing?
It's bizarrely, when you came to film it, I think we had fun with it.
Yeah.
And like, we just kind of...
It was fun to create.
Yeah, it was just good fun. And we've done stupid videos. In fact, in this room, this is where the marketing journey of this business started. It was in this room. Where I was wearing a latex muscle suit over there. But we were just doing what we normally do and just creating some stupid videos and stuff. But that video, I think it's down to Brad and the editing as well. You did an amazing job of making just, like, it was so, like, epically cinematic.
Yeah.
For what is essentially I don't want to say a silly cup. It's a very over-the-top mug.
Yeah.
We turned into this, like, massive epic story.
It's a simple mug with a big personality.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. I don't know if that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, definitely. It's not, we're not changing the world here.
No.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I'm super passionate about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of humor in kind of uber masculinity. I think there's so much comedy to be mined from it. So we've always talked about that. And then when we came to film the latest video, we were doing what we usually do, just thinking what we think is funny, and we'll just, smash this thing out. And then when I got the edit back from Brad, and I laughed a lot, but I was so impressed with how it was like a massive cinematic trailer, and it was the epicness of it made it so funny. And then we put it live, and we have these typical content shoots that I like to do. We've done some recently where I'm not even really thinking about, we're going to sell a product here.
Yeah.
Part of it is I need to enjoy what I'm doing for a living, and I want to have a laugh, and I want to work with people who are fun to work with. And I think that if we enjoy it, we create some content. If we find it funny, other people will find it funny. And that to me is way more valuable than just kind of entering the, just being in the ocean of ads, of constantly trying to sell.
Yeah, throwing it down people's throats and just being over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the goal that I think that most businesses miss is, rather than just selling to people, everything underneath that, like, I don't know if it's the right analogy, but the tip of the iceberg, everything else underneath it is intangible value that you're kind of throwing out to your audience. And it could be value in the form of you're just making them smile or making them laugh.
Yeah.
And that goes so far to actually improving the conversion rate of your ads, because now they know your brand and they like your brand and they have somewhat of a relationship with your brand. So what we found is that ad that we filmed with you guys, it works at the top of our funnel for bringing in loads of views and loads of interactions.
Yeah.
And then we kind of can show the product and be a bit more explicit about the fact that we are selling. But the conversion of those ads is so much higher because we've done all of that work. Yeah. And it just takes investment. You have to be willing to invest. And you're throwing money at something that doesn't have a direct return immediately.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people struggle with, is you want to see tangible money back from it. But one thing that I've been pretty good at over the last 10 years or so is understanding that you have to throw money at quite a lot of business just to make it look as good as possible and present it as good as it possibly can be presented. And the fruits of that will continue to come for years after,
Yeah. I think what you've just mentioned there is so important, and when we engage with like startup brands, for example, I think a lot of people underestimate how important marketing is for a business. And it sounds stupid when you say it out loud like that, because it should be it is the most important thing with the business. Like with the products and stuff, they're never going to be a finished article. You're a great example of that, and I guarantee there will be more improvements. You mentioned earlier about things you're working on already, and it will just never end. And it's kind of the same with marketing, but you don't get to learn what those changes need to be without getting the marketing right and actually investing in it. And I can't tell you how many times we speak to brands, whether they're startups or in the first couple of years, and they're like, right, got this amazing product, perfect, okay, cool, what's your budget for the year? We don't have one. $1,000, and like, I get it, like, don't want this to come across the wrong way, like, not everyone's got a pot of money they can just throw at things, and, I guess that's where you can lean on maybe investors and stuff, but I think people, they underestimate how important the marketing is, and they focus so much on the product itself before they've actually got any actual feedback from the people that will be buying it. Do you think that's a fair comment to make, or have you got any?
I've made so many mistakes in the past, and I know it's cliche to say it, they're not mistakes because you learn as you go, don't you? And one of the biggest lessons I think I've picked up over the years is picking the right opportunity and the right product. And the right product, you might have a fantastic product that you're able to, sell and people like it. But if it doesn't have enough if it doesn't have enough gross profit in it to be able to actually get the message out there, you'll never sell them. And that's funny. If you want a lifestyle business where, you're going to fairs and it's just you and you're making products and you're selling products, and that's you still have to factor it in there, but it becomes a lot less expensive. But but then the scale isn't anywhere near as exciting. Yeah. But the marketing, I think anyone who is thinking of an e-commerce business or a product idea, or even if you're looking at another business and you think, I want to do what they're doing and I'm going to enter that market, I think people underestimate just how much of the revenue is going to have to be put into the business for marketing. And to your point, it's not only about the fact that you're getting the reach and selling those products. It's also because the volume of customers buying your item and then giving you feedback on that item and you responding to it in live real time, you're responding and improving. You only really get that from having a high volume of customers, a high volume of purchases. So I totally agree with what you're saying. I think there's so many people who have got a brilliant idea, but they'll never get it off the ground, or they'll realize too late. They'll produce the product, they'll get samples in, they'll build the website, they'll spend ages agonizing over the brand name and the website and the blah, blah, blah. And then eventually they get to the point where they realize that no one's coming to that website and no one's buying that product, and it's going to cost you this amount. And you could have found out at the start of this process with the right research, and asking yourself the right questions, you could have had this idea and you probably could have burnt it in your mind in half an hour because you realise that there's no scale in it. And I've seen people waste 2-3 years going down this line only to realise that the opportunity is not really there. You've made a great product, but unfortunately the margins don't work. There's a ceiling how much you can charge for something, and there's a cost that Meta ads or Google is going to have to get the product out there. And for many products, and when people talk to me about good ideas for products, I think it's one of the first things you should look at is you can look at this, you can have an idea in your mind, you think, okay, well, how much is somebody willing to pay for that? Potentially this amount. Okay, well, I know from experience that it's generally going to cost you somewhere between 15 and 30% in your marketing spend. You're dead already. It's not going to work.
No. It's and again, it's hard to navigate though, isn't it? Like, again, you go back to a lot of startups and they're usually people that are fresh to business and all of these things. You're not taught this in school, you're not taught this anywhere. Again, it's, there's videos out there like this which can help people for sure, but you've got so much information out there that you can easily get overwhelmed by it. So I think it's it's difficult, isn't it, at the same time to actually find that information and be aware that you just naturally, like, you can work things out before you start spending, and you know, kind of have an idea if something's going to work. Even just by looking at competitors, what are they doing? Are there any? You know, these little things that you can do to just see if there's actually any market share there. You've got competitors that are doing something similar and they're struggling, and you can kind of see they're struggling by their marketing, or just like things are slow. You can kind of get an inkling, can't you? Brands that are active on social media usually are, there's a reason they're pushing, they're able to push because they've got money behind them. One of the things that we like to do, like when a business actually gets in touch with us, first thing we look at is their ads library. So a business can say to us they're spending X amount, but just look at their ads library, see how many ads are they actually running. If they've got quite a lot of ads running, different creatives and stuff, you can usually tell that they're spending a lot of money on the marketing, which is usually a good sign. You know, if they're putting the money there, there's got to be money coming in. I like to think a lot of the time. So, but yeah, like you say, it's actually quite difficult for people to navigate that. But it goes back to marketing is just so important. You've got to have a focus on it, and if you're hoping to launch a business with just a great product, I don't think it's enough these days.
Nah, my advice to any business owner who's thinking about getting into e-commerce is that don't let marketing be a blind spot to you. I think you kind of mentioned this earlier, that like, I think when people hear marketing, it's almost like a bit of a dirty word in business.
Yeah.
Because it was for me. I used to think of marketing. It feels like that there's a bit manipulative. It feels like that you're kind of that you're pushing something on someone that never asked for it. You know? You're either literally or metaphorically putting a billboard in someone's face and saying buy this, and we have kind of negative connotations associated with like marketing campaigns in the past, like pushing cigarettes on people, and there's all kinds of examples of this.
Door-to-door sales, all of these things are linked, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. There's not very many positive connotations that come to mind when you think of marketing.
No.
But then I think we can also, all of us can think of iconic, funny marketing campaigns that have been really powerful, and some of which have even like kind of shaped a culture in some way, or have they've done something, they've had huge reach, and we've bought into their message. Look at Apple, for example. Look at, you know, Apple is, I wouldn't describe Apple as a very kind of salesy.
No, they're not really,
business.
are they?
They don't have to, but it's undeniable that their marketing has been effective. We've been sold to without realizing that we're being sold to.
What is it? Dollar
Shave Club.
Yeah, they did it incredibly well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you remember when we were? It's probably before your time, but I remember like the old Tango ads, Orange Tango, and things like this. These like
the Pepsi ads. Maybe no, with the footballers or Tango. Sorry, go on. What was, you might be able to.
Tango is like just like stupid British humour. Like the Lynx deodorant spray and things like this.
You spray it, and then all of a sudden you've got flocks of women around you and stuff, like things like that.
Yeah, those are like burnt into my memory from when I was a kid. Like these kind of stupid marketing campaigns that were very British, very stupid humour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that I think that people think of marketing, they think businesses don't typically like to be associated with it.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's seen that that department is taking the thing and essentially banging on people's doors, asking for sales. But my advice to business owners, particularly in e-commerce, is don't shy away from the marketing. Don't hand over the reins to a marketing agency necessarily. Yeah. Obviously, you're a marketing agency, and we worked with you as a marketing agency. Yeah. But
be sticky. You've got to be involved, and
I think you have to be, and particularly because the retail world that we live in now is so much about content. Yeah. You have to, have content that is engaging. Yeah. And to hand that over to a third-party agency and expect them to do your content for you,
Yeah.
I think you're handing over such a hugely important part of the business. The product, this product as an example,
Yeah.
is implicitly linked to the marketing. The marketing and the product are one and the same. They're both tied together. So they have to work in synergy. And I think you'd probably agree that if I wasn't as involved as I have been in, directing that, there wouldn't be a consistency between the product and the brand and the content and the messaging and the voice and the personality. So
Totally
it's
agree,
so
mate.
important.
Yeah, 100%. And if it's a skill set you haven't got, find someone with it. It sounds easy. Obviously, there's cost to that. But, it's I think, obviously, it's one of your strengths, so it works really well. But, or invest in educating yourself. And I think that's one thing that actually recently has become more of a, I don't think people are that keen anymore. I mean, everyone's trying to leverage their time, and AI is becoming a big thing now. So everyone's interested in how efficient can I get everything, which isn't a bad thing. But because of that, I think actually there's now this sort of negative opinion on investing in yourself, investing in your skill sets, learning new things. And actually, I don't know about yourself, I'd be keen to hear what your thoughts are, but for me personally, I think that's actually been one of the biggest reasons why we've been able to achieve what we have at Scale It Co. Obviously, we've got great people around us, like Brad, and team members that we can rely on. But actually, if, fingers crossed, it doesn't, if everything crumbled and everyone left us, don't leave us, Brad. If everything crumbled and everyone left us, me and Ollie could deliver everything, so the business would be okay. So I guess what I'm getting at is that we learn everything before we employ for it. Doesn't mean we're not the best at everything. I can get behind a camera, but Brad's way better at everything in terms of videography than me. So, going back to my point, I think that people have they're losing touch with how important it is actually to, like you say, if you work with an agency, be involved. Be curious, learn as much as you can when they're sending reports over and stuff. Really try and figure out what are they looking at, what are they working on next, what's the plan, and just constantly learning. And I do think that from just conversations with individuals, everyone's so focused on AI, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And I love it. But I don't know. Do you feel that, or have you not noticed that yourself?
About AI?
No, about people maybe not being as interested anymore in investing in themselves, learning things. Do you see that in your network or people that you engage with, or not really?
I don't know if it's just a collective impatience. It's probably born out of social media and kind of everyone wants everything in 60 days. And, people, everyone misses the fact that the most impactful, successful things take years to come to fruition. You have to invest in everything we've just said. You're throwing money at the wall without any obvious benefit for it. It's a lot of a leap of faith, a lot of trust in that this is actually going to be valuable in the future. And the learning skills and just having so many different tools in your tool belt, that's probably the thing that's been the most impactful in my entire career. Has been, I just never stop learning. Always be curious, always just ask questions about whatever is going on, because when you understand all these different elements of the business, you said, fingers crossed it doesn't all go to shit. If it ever went to shit, then I'd be able to do X, Y, or Z. And the reality in business is that the knocks are coming. If you're planning to be in business for 7, 8, 9 years, there is going to be stuff that goes tits up in your business. There's going to be stuff that goes tits up in the economy. There's going to be stuff's going to go wrong. 100% will go wrong. And you have to be prepared to potentially go backward. You're going to go back a step to go forward again.
Yeah.
So that might mean you're going to go back to doing the job that you were doing previously. You were much more involved in, for example, doing the accounting and things like that. Now all of a sudden you're going to have to pick that back up again.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to let people go from a team, and you're going to have to hop in, and you're going to have to help out with customer service or whatever. So I just think that's the reality of business. I think people don't necessarily they don't realize that until they start doing it. There's a neat graph that probably Alex or Mosey would draw, or something, where you have the, I think it's uninformed optimism, and then informed pessimism, or they call it the pit of despair. It's where people actually realize just how much work's involved, just how much that I need to know and understand to be able to make this a success. And if you don't understand the fundamentals of your business, it's a recipe for disaster when the knocks come, when the trouble comes.
The reason I was giggling a bit there actually is because I kind of can now. I feel like I can laugh about these things. I'm much more, like you say, problems happen sometimes every day. Something comes up. It'll only be little, but I think when you're getting started, when I say getting started to me, by the way, is in your first couple of years in business, really. Like, you learn so much in that time. And I just remember, like, so many things where I'd like get so stressed in the earlier stages about something, and it'd really panic me. And actually, that's what triggered a lot of my panic attacks. Because when I started, I had panic attacks left, right, and centre. My mental health was absolutely shot.
Same.
Yeah, and it's so incredibly hard to navigate, and you are very lonely. Even now with Ollie as business partner, and we speak every day, you're still lonely. You don't want to talk about all the negative things all the time, because you're trying to run a business together and you're trying to, keep things going and everything's positive. But the challenges that can come up almost every day, that back when I started would keep me up at night, some of them, just little things, just very, very minor things. An ad account going down, for example. Don't get me wrong, when an ad account goes down, get it sorted ASAP, because the ads stop. But like it's an organised process now, whereas just something like that when I got started would be, I wouldn't even know how to solve the problem. And then when you feel so nervous and anxious, and that's probably not the best example, to be honest, but it may be a complaint from a client as well, something which can be navigated, and you can put a solution in place, but it's just you're just learning from falling forward, and it's such a scary thing, to be honest. And I actually don't think, so glad you brought it up, because I don't think it's not spoken about enough. Business is like glorified, and everyone just thinks that when you own a business, you're successful, you make a load of money, and you have this great life. And actually, I don't think it is that until you get to a point of I think leverage is important, but when you can afford to have team members and you're actually buying your time back, then you've got time to spend with family. You've obviously just had a little one. So, that's important to you. I'm sure you've done things and put things in place to be able to spend that time now at home. But you just work your arse off non-stop. You are stressed all the time for a very long time.
I've said this to friends before, but I think that running a business, I think it's one of the hardest things that a person can willingly choose to do. I do. I think it's like the ultimate test of a person, almost. It's like running the gauntlet. There's so many times where you just feel like you must be crazy, because why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, why am I doing it?
And ultimately, I'm doing it. I'm the one doing it. But there's something in me that keeps deciding to do this over and over again. Even when the success doesn't necessarily show up, or even when huge stress shows up to the point where my mental health is destroyed for months on end, and it's awful, and it's But you have to put on so many different hats, and you have to learn so many life skills to be able to do it successfully. You have to be resilient. Yeah. You have to find optimism and passion, even though there's no evidence for it yet. Yeah. You have to be pretty good with money. you have to be a people person. You have to be able to connect with other people, because no one does this on this game on their own. You have to partner with other people. Yeah. There's a whole ton of kind of, I know it sounds woo-woo, but there's a lot of kind of inner work that happens on your journey throughout that process as well. You have to learn to let go and hand over responsibility to other people. You have to trust people. You have to learn about what it is that you are actually good at and the thing that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So you have to then carve that piece out for yourself, and you have to say, okay, I'm not going to let the rest fall away, and I'm going to hire someone for that.
Yeah.
It's so multifaceted, and it's such a long, arduous, messy process. And the bit that everyone sees is the bit that you usually choose to show the world.
Yeah.
But the bit, when you look underneath, every business is a messy, changing, complex situation. And it's not just complex because of all the numbers. It's complex because of the relationships.
Yeah.
It's complex because of there's so many elements to it. Why wouldn't it be messy? Why wouldn't it be chaotic? But
I love that. But get comfortable with the chaos, haven't you?
Yeah, you signed up for it. You chose it. Now you just do it. And the stupid bit is that I wouldn't have it any other way either.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I'd be bored. I would. If I had stability and comfort, I would just mess it up anyway. I would. I'd say, well, I'd still be dreaming up the next idea. I'd be thinking, that's where the passion is. That's where. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some.
But even though it's stupid, as soon as I say it was enjoyable, and then my brain goes, is it?
Yeah. I was like, I reacted like, no, absolutely. You're like, no, but yeah. But you know what?
It's that cliche. It's not like you're not looking for happiness. It's I find it meaningful. I find it meaningful. It makes me get up in the morning because it's hard.
Yeah. You've always got something to do. I think one thing that I guess sort of like slowly wrapping up, but one of the things that I will never take for granted, and that I think actually is one of the reasons why I love business so much, more than, I think it's number one for me, is actually the relationships that you form. And I've said this a number of times to yourself. Our relationship started through a business transaction, and actually now I could probably speak to you about anything. And if I actually wanted to, I'm sure, if I ever needed you, I'm sure I could get on the phone, you'd be speaking to me throughout the whole night. Like, genuinely have such a good friendship with you. And we've got that with so many other clients as well. And it's something that I think a lot of people really take for granted. And, ultimately we don't work together anymore in the business, but you should never let that drop off. That should never change. Like, the relationship should still stay there. There's so much that I can, even just this today, like, learn, and hopefully can go and catch up after as well and stuff. But relationships are just, I just love it. I love that I get the opportunity to build bonds with people that are on the same journey as me, but they're taking different roads. And you just, I think that's the biggest. You learn a lot. You learn so much.
It's so important.
Yeah.
I think I've always been the type of person where I give trust first, rather than being that kind of closed off, you have to earn my trust.
Yeah.
I like to kind of put my trust in you, and then I can find out straight away whether you'll take advantage of that or whether you'll reciprocate. And to work with businesses who are like-minded, most people out there who are business owners are quite similar temperamentally to, they're really nice people.
Yeah.
They're not out there to kind of squeeze, a buck out of people and to dick people around. Those people do exist though. I've come across them many times before, and I've been burnt many times. I abandon my own values, and I think there's something I think there can be something quite attractive in like there can be really selfish people in business who are using people to get what they want.
Yeah.
And when someone like that is on your team, it can feel quite powerful. You think, I wouldn't mind this person working for me because they're like an aggressive salesperson.
Yeah.
They're going to go out there and they're going to make success, and I'm going to be behind them. But what I found inevitably is you work with those people, they'll turn around eventually, and you'll be on the receiving end of that.
It's just how they are.
It's just how they are, and you'll be on the wrong end of it eventually.
Yeah.
So you find out over the years, you get to be a pretty good detector.
Good judge of character. And, you can kind of see, can't you?
Yeah. And what's interesting, so before I started working with you, I saw your video ads on Instagram with you talking on there.
Yeah.
And you could tell immediately, this is a nice guy. This is not someone who's going to dick me over or who's looking for, a quick buck for himself. And that is everything. It's the fundamental part of a good business relationship. If there was a business owner watching this and they feel like that their business is somehow different or unusual because they're not where they want to be yet, and it's really difficult, and they're losing sleep, and the money isn't necessarily there to pay the staff, and they're worrying when that's going to come in and if it's going to come in, all the rest of it. You're not unusual. This is the game. It is this hard. It is that hard.
Yep.
Don't stop. Keep going, and you'll come out the other side of it. But you're not unusual. It just is that hard. This is the game.
That's it. Yeah. Doing incredibly well, mate. And I'm really said it to you a few times. I can't wait to see where it ends up. To be honest, it's exciting every time we catch up. There's something new happen. There's a change. There's progression. Obviously mixed in with, like you say, progression doesn't come without the challenges. But I just can't wait to see where it ends up. And I mean, what I guess the last question on my end. What do you see being? Is there an end goal for you with CHUUG, or is it you just loving every moment and just carry on, and there's no real thought about that at the moment?
I haven't really got like a 5-year, 10-year plan for this business. And I think a lot of I've been kind of shamed for this before. I don't think I've ever really had like a 5-year or 10-year plan when I've set up businesses before.
Yeah.
Almost because I think you're thinking about it too much from your side and what you're trying to get out of it, when really I think your attention needs to be so outwardly focused on your customers, and if you're providing the value to them, that takes up such a huge portion of my mind every day. I'm so focused on that because without that, you haven't even got a business, you haven't got any income at all. So I'm thinking more that, let's say that life circumstances change in such a way where I think that I wouldn't mind selling the business. A key part of being able to do that at that time would be that you've got happy customers, a functioning product, you've got profitability, the marketing spend is as low as possible, blah, blah, blah. I'm building the business. I'm putting those pieces in place should I ever want to sell the business.
Yeah.
But I don't have plans to sell the business. I have plans to keep doing more of the same of what we've already done, keep improving on the metrics to future-proof it. But a huge part of what I get back from this business is I'm so deeply tied to it. I think because of its origin story and because of where it's come from, it sounds deep, but like every element of this business came from here. It came from, it couldn't be any more me, this business. It's so me. I think that anyone who knows me really well would be able to see that any aspect of it, every element, it comes from me, and my passion and my energy is this business. And the idea for me to continue doing what we're doing and build out more products, and to make things better and better for the customers, it's the best. That's if you can be paid to do that, then I think it's a win. Yeah, that's a win, isn't it?
Yeah, big win.
Yeah.
And you happy?
What's that?
You're happy is the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. But it's none of it is easy.
No.
But then it'd be, like we said earlier, it'd be boring if it was easy.
Yeah, it would. It would. It really would. I couldn't. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? You do it for so long. I mean, I'm I think like 8 or 9 years now in business and stuff, and I don't know. It just feels like part of me now. If Scale It Co wasn't here tomorrow, I'd find something else. And you know, it's always a similar story, isn't it? With how CHUUG was for you. You move on from something, and then you just do what you need to do to get the next thing going. And whether that's like scraping around, trying to find money, you know, trying to solve problems that you probably can't solve, like you just make it work. It kind of felt like that when we launched Scale It Co. You know, it was a bit of a tough time that was, and financially I was crippled. So in a very similar situation in some ways to I think where you probably was, where you're kind of like, it's your last bet and you're trying to make something work, but you're also navigating the pressures from home that are just, you know, making sure the bills are paid. All these things which, you know, a lot of people they just don't see. Because like you say, we show what we kind of need to show, but those bits get missed. But no, it's interesting. Like, to be honest, me personally, I couldn't imagine like you not being involved in CHUUG and not even stepping up. Like from just knowing you over the year and a half or something, I just couldn't. I couldn't actually imagine you telling me that you've like walked away from it or anything, and actually not being happy. I think you just you know, it's part of you.
You call me Mr. CHUUG.
Yeah, Mr. CHUUG. Oh, that's class.
Jack's WhatsApp voice notes, Mr. CHUUG.
Yeah. No, Mike, it's been a pleasure, mate, to sit down with you and talk about things. And, you know, hopefully people watching this get value from... And I'm sure there's much more that you could share as well. I'm sure you know, there's loads more things we can go through. So I think, you know, we'd love to have you back and do it again, you know, in the very near future. But yeah, really appreciate you having you on, and thanks for your time, mate. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, mate. Always a pleasure.
Love it. Cool. That's a wrap, mate.